What's up, everyone? As always, thank you so much for hitting that download button for SuppTalk Radio. Super excited for having my guest today. It's been a while that he and I have been dialoguing due to some personal issues. We've had to kind of detour, but again, I'm glad to finally have you on. Allow me to introduce William Smallwood of PWR Supplements. William, how are you?
Doing really good, Sean. How are you?
I am doing well. Again, I appreciate you finally taking time to connect with me.
Yeah, man, it's a long time overdue, but here we are.
So as I always like to ask, tell me a little bit about you. What's your background and what led you into this crazy world called supplementation?
So let's see here. Back from when I was a kid, my dad's always been very into fitness, supplementation, things like that. He actually was one of, unfortunately, he got roped into one of those the multi-level marketing schemes very early on. Yeah, so we've always had different types of vitamins, protein shakes, and things like that all around the house. And ever since then, it's always kind of been like oh, you work out, you get a shake afterwards. Here's dinner, you take a multivitamin, and everything like that. And it's just kind of how we grew up.
Okay.
From then, I was always active. I was actually in track and field up until my sophomore year of high school, where I had a little issue with my back. But it was always constantly like running 5Ks. Almost every weekend we were doing something where it was, out with the family, and then, everyone's getting involved in that sense.
Nice.
From there, just, let's see, in high school, I was always like the really skinny kid, like, 6 foot, $130.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, an absolute string bean. So, always was trying to turn to supplementation to just try and find something to just put on weight and actually keep it on for me. Obviously there was never ever actually like a miracle supplement that would help that for me. But, everything from pro hormones to weight gainers, pre-workouts, aminos, anything you name it, I was trying it to try and get something to stick on.
Was that by your design, or was your dad saying like, son, you're too skinny, you need to bulk up?
Oh, no, this was all me.
Okay.
After I started getting picked on for, my pants not being able to fit me, it was, it was getting rough.
Okay.
But yeah, no, then, so it was kind of just that for a while. Then found a love for, just going to the gym and everything like that. I don't know, from there on out, it just kind of, I started diving a lot more into like the science behind it. And it really just piqued my interest, because once you go down that rabbit hole, it just explodes for you.
Sure.
And yeah, next thing you know, here we are.
So I was very similar to you. I'm only 5'8", so I'm not 6'1" by any means, but I was about $130 in high school myself. 16, 17 years old. Started the gym, just trying to bulk up. My dad was the one that was kind of chirping in my ear. He thought I was too small, which obviously I was at that age. So I remember my first thing that he gave me was Carnation Instant Breakfast. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. It's kind of, it's almost like the Nestle Quicks and stuff. You get it in the supermarket. It comes in these little packets, like way before the Metrics packets. And it was more just vitamins and minerals. It might have been like 100 calories. But my dad was like, milk, banana, have 5 of those a day. And that kind of got me down my path. So somewhat similar, somewhat dissimilar.
Yeah, yeah.
So what made you jump into the shark-infested supplement pool?
So almost 2 years ago at this point, I actually got laid off from a job. I've been in sales in retail for probably about 10, 15 years now at this point. I got laid off, and I decided that was the last big company I wanted to work for. And I was going straight on from that moment on. I just wanted to work for myself. I was tired of these big companies that were just, honestly, I felt like they were just all screwing over their customers in ways where they were overcharging for things and underservicing with resources that they clearly had and they just didn't want to use. So from there, I started the business. I got 3 partners on with me. So we all people with similar mindsets.
Yeah.
So everything's going with that. And then I also picked up a few other side jobs just to kind of float the bills until the supplements started taking off.
So now your third partner isn't a Bill or a Will, is it?
He is Bill. Yeah, there's myself, Lawrence, Pete, and then there's also Bill as well too. We actually we both used to go by Bill. We decided it'd be easier to just flip a coin, and one would go by William and the other one would be Bill, just for business card's sake.
Because it's almost like Jekyll and it's almost like Jekyll and Hyde when I'm interacting with you guys on Instagram. I'm like, okay, who am I dealing with? You're both super nice guys, but I'm like, okay, who am I talking to today? Who's handling the IG account?
We were doing that for a while, where like everyone would have a certain day of the week where they were trying to interact with people, and the whole reason is that like when I go on Instagram, it's looking at my network and my interactions, and when he goes on, it's looking at his interactions. So it actually makes us have a little bit of a broader network if you kind of tap in with multiple people like that. So.
Gotcha. So you go ahead and decide you want to open up a supplement company. You do all your paperwork. I mean, walk us through how easy or how hard is it really? I mean, whether you want to blow open the curtain or if you want to keep it short and sweet.
It all depends on what you want to do with it, really. From just kind of the entrepreneurial standpoint, you can go with one of those companies where you start off with 144 units and they basically make the formula and the label for you, and you're literally just selling their product. Or you can go into something where you really step back, work on your formulations, build your own labels, hire your graphic designers and things like that, and then try to take off from there. Okay. For us, let me see here. We did a lot of formulation because it was fairly easy for us. There was a big process for it, but Lawrence, our business partner, he's oh my gosh, what federation is he in? OCB and IPE. He's a professional bodybuilder. Yeah, the naturals on there. All during college, the formula that his Power Rush was what he was taking, but he was just using the bulk supplements, just mixing his own raw.
His own. Okay.
Yeah. And we just took what he was using because he said, this is basically, we sat down to talk about, dosages and things like that. And he was like, no. This is what we're doing. This is what we want. This is going to be good. And we all liked it and kind of just got on board with it from there.
So when did you guys first kind of launch? When you first got product in hand and said, okay, let's go live, guys, let's make some sales.
So it was May of 2018 was when we first got everything on there. We've been up and running this March. Technically, will be the start of our third calendar year. Okay. But it's been a slow process. When you only have one product with one flavor, it's not like you're going to explode that right out the gate.
Yeah.
You had a really nice local draw. There's a lot of support around there, but to get the national brand recognition and some real sales numbers, you need a little bit more than that.
Sure. So walk us through, how did you guys identify your manufacturer? I'm not asking for names, but because I know sometimes that's some of the biggest things. I've heard people Google search it, but I know it's just a gamble. How did you guys, get into bed with your manufacturer?
Definitely we basically just did a search for the list of the CGMP, like everyone who had that manufacturing or, met up to that criteria. Yep. And then it was just a lot of, here's the formula that we want. What's it going to cost us? And then kind of go around with it from there. Turnaround time was one of the big points that we were looking for because it ranged anywhere from 21 days to 6 months, just depends on where you were on it. So it was, we found a sweet spot with somebody that we felt was going to give us the best quality that we could. They also were the most lenient when it came down to flavoring. Okay. They said that they'd be able to send us multiple options before we'd be able to get to pick the one that we had, and they weren't going to charge us for it. So that was pretty nice.
Because I always hear there's not horror stories, but I always hear stories from other people like yourself that are just starting out, that you find your manufacturer, you think everything's well, but because you're only ordering 144, 300, whatever, that's it. The lead times, because they want the 1,000 orders, the 5,000 orders from the Redcons, the BSNs, and the small guys like you. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll get to you when we get to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things we're actually shopping around a little bit now for different manufacturers because, and this is something we can talk about a little bit later on too. Yeah. I'm actually didn't realize when we pulled the trigger on there that we signed an NDA where we won't even be able to disclose who our manufacturer is. Okay. That's something I'm actually trying to go more towards in the future with transparency on our label, where we can say hey, this is where we get it from. This is the guy who makes it, so that it's a quality product other than just standing behind the CGMP seal. And
yeah. I don't understand that between you and I, because you're not the first person to tell me that, but I'm thinking you're a business, you're a manufacturer, you're a business. If you personally, Will, are getting great service, you'd think you want to tell all your friends, look, guys, go to this guy because he's taking care of me. But if you can't divulge that, I can never understand that.
I From the manufacturing side, I still can't 100% find a reason for, for that. I mean, I understand why a lot of the brands wouldn't want to disclose their manufacturers. And this is only because we've had somebody try to do this from us, where it was this kid that wanted to get sponsored, and we just, we weren't interested in doing business with us. And he tried to find our manufacturer because he wanted to just try to rip us apart. Being like, yo, this is what their product costs. They're trying to make this much money off of you. They want to rip you off, because now the manufacturers are so easy to get in contact with. You just send them like, hey, make this label for me. What's it going to cost? And so from that sense, it's a little bit of an annoying for, brands trying to find a manufacturer who doesn't want to have the NDA on there, but it's kind of is what it is.
So now, obviously you did some research with your partners on what it takes. Were you conscious of what was going on, or was there a lot of eye-opening stuff like, guys, how come we didn't know this? How come we didn't learn that? Or was it kind of just learn on the fly?
Yeah. It was like getting smacked in the face with a tidal wave.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an idea of, ingredients and how things worked and things like that, but the actual, the business of like the supplementation of, just where people are cutting corners and things like that. I mean, we had no idea. It was, it was like this.
So now was Power Rush your first product, or did you drop all three at once? Because obviously I'm a proud user here.
Yeah, love that, man. So yeah, we actually had just Power Rush available for our first year and a half. It wasn't until about the beginning or mid-September of 2019 was when we released Power Down and ProTropic as well too.
So now with Power Rush, is this the identical formula that your other partner, the competitor, said that we should do this, or is it kind of gone off pace a little bit from what you started with to what came out?
No, that's exactly what it was actually. It's actually missing one ingredient because he's a big fan of nootropics. Wanted to put as many of them as we could in there. We actually had to take a few of them out. One of the big ones, and probably catch a little flack for saying this, but he wanted to include nicotine in there as well too.
Really?
Yeah, he was real big on that when he was studying. He would be taking caffeine theanine with a nicotine patch on.
Wow, okay.
There is a lot of evidence behind the nootropic side of nicotine. Unfortunately, the negatives kind of outweigh the positives with it, but so it's effective. It's effective, all right. But yeah, no, it was that was when he was working out. It'd be basically the 6 ingredients that we've got listed on there, and they work. It's one of those things where it's a very simple formula where it's easy on the stomach, so that a lot of people can take it. It's very mass friendly for it.
Yep. So let's get into the big obvious here. Now you and I have talked about it. It's 150 right milligrams of caffeine. So because so first off, I like it, and I said this in my review. It's 30 servings. I do about 1.5 servings. I'm very stim sensitive, so 1.5 for me is good. So it still gives me that 20 servings. For most people, if you start going below that, but I guess what's your audience with this product? Because again, it seems like 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 are just stim heads. Yeah.
So that's one thing that we've definitely found out, is that the more that we get into this circle of supplementation and, a lot of like the YouTube reviewers, is that everyone is a stim head.
Yeah.
Outside of that circle is kind of where most of our customers stand. We've got a lot of local gyms that aren't like the crazy hardcore, gym rats, who show up, they're walking around the gym with their duffel bag and a gallon of water. That seems to be like more of where we're hitting. I've got about 3 local gyms around here where they've got classes that are like Zumba with like 60-plus-year-old women that are all taking that all take a half scoop before they go in. And I mean, not to, deter that from someone else, I'm still 30 years old and get a, good kick out of a scoop from myself before a workout, but it's, we've got gamers that use it for, energy at 3 o'clock in the morning, plus with the nootropics on there. We've got a lot of people that have, when we first started, we've got some friends that work over with Google, with FAA, and even at Lockheed Martin. And before they'd start going on coding binges, they were taking a scoop instead of, Red Bull or Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yep.
To kind of go with that. That's kind of how we've, it's kind of how we started to identify ourselves more almost as an energy drink than just or like a performance-based energy drink. Sure. A kick you in the ass pre-workout pretty much.
Yep. Because for me, and I know Matt from 5 Minute Subs does this. He uses the product, but he also makes a smoothie in the morning out of it, just instead of a cup of coffee as pick me up. And then for me, sometimes I'll use it in the afternoon. I think I've told you with the greens formula I have. So it
Yeah,
actually mixes very well. And it's just a good pick me up. I mean, if people can take the tingles a little bit, the beta alanine tingles without working out, more the merrier. But I think most people that take a product that's got beta alanine in it, they're used to it, whether they're working out
yeah,
or not.
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, that's my personal opinion on beta alanine is that it's more for the sensory option for it. You
Yep.
feel everything start kicking in, so that's when it kind of gets you into high gear with it. It's yeah.
So was the flavor the original flavor that you guys had, or how many different flavors did you go through before you dropped this?
So we actually had an original flavor when we first came out. Then our manufacturer decided that they were no longer going to be partnering with the food scientists that they were using. So we had to switch it up a little bit about a year into it. And it added a little bit more lime to it, which we actually all enjoyed. But yeah, no, this was, and this actually goes back to, the grassroots on it. My dad used to give me this electrolyte drink when I was a kid that was lemon lime flavored. And that was always like, if you're going for a run, you're doing anything, lemon lime is the flavor that, that powers you through it. And that's kind of where everything came from from there.
Yeah, and for people that are not watching, that are listening to this, that haven't seen my review on this, and I know we've spoken about this, this reminds me so much, and obviously I'm a lot older. You can see the white in the beard here, my post-Christmas beard. This took me all the way back when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old with the ice cream truck, getting the little ice cups with those little wooden spoons, what I hated, those Italian ices, and that's exactly what it brought me back. So for me, they say if you eat or drink anything and it elicits a response, it's a good thing. If it brings back to a good memory, it's a great thing. And that's exactly what it did with your product for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that, aside from the performance side of it, that's one of the things that we do have our reviews on it are more on the high side is for the flavoring for it. And it's incredibly versatile too.
Yes.
Even though we've only got the one flavor, I take a scoop, I'll add it to unsweetened iced tea, and all of a sudden it's an Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
You can put half a scoop into some green tea. It makes a nice little toddy, especially if you're feeling a little sick on there, just because the caffeine and the B vitamins will pick you up a little more.
Okay.
There's a lot of different ways you can use it.
So I know you've got obviously citrulline malate in this as well, but I know you keep talking about more of a focus. So at the end of the day, is this really more of a focus product with a kind of a side of pump, or is it really truly more focused with a little bit of a lift on the caffeine side?
Yeah, I mean, it started off as kind of like a sales pitch, and then we ended up turning it into this is actually who it's for. We've kind of got a little bell curve that goes on with who our customers are. You've got, let's put it on your y-axis is going to be like energy drink at the bottom, pre-workout at the top, and then going from 0 over to 10 is your, beginner all the way over to your expert. When you're starting off as we'll go on the other side. If you're someone who takes, 500 plus milligrams of caffeine in a pre-workout, you're going to look at this, and this is basically just a replacement for Bang. This is where you're going to be getting another caffeine source from you. It'll help you hit your saturation points for beta alanine throughout the day. Plus, it's going to have I've got 3 grams of citrulline malate on there, which I know a lot of people are looking for 6 or higher. But this will help keep a lot of the vasodilation throughout the day for just general heart health with it for that as well too. When you scale back to someone who's a little bit more intermediate, then this is a great pre-workout. You'll get a lot of the sensory load from from the beta alanine. There is a kick in there from having a little bit of a lower stim pre-workout with the with 150 milligrams of caffeine, but also the actual focus side of it. It's something where we've seen a lot of people really enjoy that as well too. And then when you go all the way back to the beginner, we just give them a half scoop and tell them it's an energy drink, just not to scare them off.
So are people telling you that they're double and triple scooping this, or no? I know you said your focus points are kind of less stim people, but are people double and tripling this?
That's actually one of the points that we formulated it for, is that it is something you can drink throughout the day. Now we don't see people do. I've actually only seen one person take 3 scoops.
Okay.
Once ever, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I've seen some shit in Atlantic City, but that kid was bouncing off the walls. But yeah, no, it was most of the time it's about a scoop, or like kind of where you and I are sitting at with it, about a scoop to a half scoop, and if you
Yep.
really need to get moving, 2 scoops. But yeah, I mean, I take a half scoop as in 3 o'clock pick me up on there.
Now for flavor, I mean, is there anything next for this product? New flavors, or are you gonna sit tight with the flavor and the product as it is now?
No, that's actually one of the next things we're working on. Hopefully it'll be an early spring release. We're working on an orange. We want to
nice.
go blood orange, so it's going to have a little bit more of kind of like a tartness on there. I know there's a lot of companies that go for a lot of the more like exotic flavors, pina coladas, and a lot of more sugary aspects on it. But our goal right off the rip when we were talking about how we wanted to proceed as a business is Gatorade's got 3 flavors that sell really well.
Yeah.
We stick to those pretty much, except for the fruit punch. We're probably going to go with like a blue ice or something for after the orange. But yeah, I mean that's our plans for flavoring on there at least.
So now diving into new flavoring, will your company send you like 6 different samples of orange, and you guys all sit around and drink it together? I mean, what's your R&D process?
Yeah, so we've already gotten 2 from the manufacturer to try out, and they're both good. It's just that we're kind of dialing it in to see exactly where we want. The ones that we've gotten now have been sweet.
Yeah.
And we kind of want to go. I'm trying to steer a little bit more towards the tartness. I want something that actually tastes like a natural orange. Like when you bite into it, it tastes like halftime at a soccer game.
Yep. And you don't have anything. You don't have any products or ingredients in here that you really have to over flavor, like lion's mane or cordyceps, which is just like really bitter or really bad that you have to over flavor or hide a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, we're even looking right now into kind of pending on how things turn out for it, but we're even looking at the option of it taking out the citrulline and actually replacing it with Vaso 6.
Oh, okay.
A couple reasons for that too is just the overall quantity. I mean, it's only a 9 gram serving on there. So taking out the 3 grams and replacing it with 300 milligrams, we're going to almost cut our tub a third in the size. So it has a lot more room to keep a nice flavor on there. Plus it's way easier to mix and transport and do everything with a smaller tub.
Now, put you on the spot here, between you and I, if you go Vaso 6, is that going to increase your price a little bit? Now you have a trademarked ingredient.
We actually, the price that we got, we would take a little bit of the hit on our margin, but we won't adjust our price on there.
Oh, nice. So what was next? I know you've got Power Down and you've got a nootropic. What was next in the line?
We've got a couple different things that we're working on. Unfortunately, right now the R&D budget's just getting a little tight.
Sure.
A couple of the things that we're looking at is, we've got an idea for a protein that we want to be looking at, but a couple of the things that we like about it is we don't see anybody else going with the flavoring options that we were doing with it.
Yep.
Going to keep that one in my back pocket for a little bit longer. Yeah, but I can tell you about one of the things that we were looking into, just because fortunately it's almost like a little bit of a buzzword at the time right now, because we were looking into something that would be a gainer, but actually in a capsule form. Again, and this is something where clearly I'm the one who's looking into the formulas on this, because this is something that I needed to take. But we were looking into a way to get THC where it actually wouldn't get you high, but it would actually replace because there's a sensor in there where it, hold on, let me get my words right on this. A lot of times when you get the munchies, where when you ingest THC, there's a sensor that would actually basically shuts off in your brain to tell you that you're full. We're actually looking at a way to synthesize just that part so that you can continue eating even if you're taking like high stim pre-workout.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, so it's basically you'll just be able to keep going and then putting that in there with a few other ingredients that we're looking at as well too.
So is this just all on paper right now, or are you guys actually trying samples of this yet?
No, it's all theoretical at the moment. I'm actually emailing back and forth with a professor from Yale, which is kind of cool. He's one of he's doing a lot of research on how THC affects the brain. So he's kind of working with us a little bit on there. Now granted, we're like last priority on his list, so it's going to be a little while before we get some real research on there to see if it would. But it's like I said, that's a budget that we're not close to right now to be able to even figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and you guys sound like at least you're approaching it smart. I know you got 4 partners, but that's where I see a lot of times it's always that companies have that dilemma: is you hit the market with one product, and hopefully that product is gonna kick butt. You make enough money, go to a second product, and there's other companies that say, you know what, I'm just gonna max out $100,000 on my credit card and come out with a full line, and they're dead in the water in 6 months.
Yeah, that's I know, good. I mean, I think that's almost how most of the smaller companies start up now anyways, is you just, you get a card that's got like 15 months interest free and just dive into it and hope for the best. And I'm not even going to lie, that's how we started off too. With a couple of cards on there, but yeah, we got it. I mean, you get them all paid off, and hopefully at the end of, the point where you're at, hopefully you're still floating in the water.
So now your other product, Power Down, which I owe you a review on, and I apologize because I personally really like this product, but maybe you can break down, talk to people about it. Kind of steal your thunder a little bit. Very natural. I mean, there's no phenibut, there's no GABA, there's nothing on it. It's going to quote unquote knock you on your ass, but it's very mild. But maybe you want to share some of the ingredients for the listeners.
Yeah. So normally with the formulations after Power Rushes, we always said that there's there would be like a feeling that you'd get from some type of a hormone response. And we wanted to try to recreate that in a supplementation form. With Power Down, the whole idea that we said that we wanted to kind of get is we wanted to go to bed with a full stomach and wake up like you took a nap on the beach.
Okay.
And that was because that seems to be when you're the most refreshed. That's when you're in the best mood. And that's really what we were aiming for. So the two main ingredients that we built it around were tryptophan and vitamin D, which, I mean, it's a little debunked that tryptophan is in turkey, but normally if you're eating anything where you're eating like a crap ton of red meat or anything like that, when you get the full stomach and you start getting tired afterward, typically related to a tryptophan overdose. Not an overdose, but just you're getting the proper amount of it. Yeah, abundance is a good word for it. And then same thing with vitamin D. A lot of people who have deficiencies on it, when it gets brought up to a normal level, then they typically have it's all right. Scientifically, it's on there. It's vitamin D is a regulator of serotonin, so serotonin helps you sleep a lot. Put the two of them together, and it seems to work real nice.
Now what else is it besides the melatonin? Besides that and tryptophan, and you have theanine in it. You also have melatonin. But what else am I missing too? The vitamin D. But what else am I missing?
There's a little bit of milk thistle in there.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that. What's the reasoning behind the milk thistle? Because I know that's good for your liver, or is it just to throw something into the detox?
It is a little bit on the detox. We're located very close to around 3 or 4 very big colleges. So that's always something that we keep in mind with a lot of the products that we make, is that college kids are going to be taking this. This is pretty much the market that we interact with the most.
Okay.
Most of these kids around here are partying their asses off. Having something in there that's good for the liver, and also trying to balance or rebalance the hormones that they've kind of upset from a pretty heavy night out is something that we were looking at for it. So yeah, that was the main reason behind that. A little bit of theanine in there, and I actually do want to address this while we're talking about theanine on there, because we've had someone reach out to us and say, kind of in a joking manner, say that there was more theanine in our pre-workout than there was in our sleep aid.
I saw that. I think somewhere in one of your posts. Yeah,
and it's strictly because if you get the 1-to-1 ratio of the caffeine theanine, it gets a little bit more of the nootropic side of it. Now, granted, we do a 3-4 ratio where there's actually more theanine than caffeine in Power Rush, because everyone's overstimulated. You're getting caffeine from somewhere else throughout the day. Yep. You probably had a cup of coffee right before you took Power Rush, so the caffeine's there to kind of match that. But cortisol is actually very important for when you're waking up.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a small panic attack. So it gets you out of bed in the morning. So if you have a sleep aid with a little bit too much theanine in there, that's kind of what'll keep you groggy in the morning if you don't get that theanine or the cortisol level to kind of spike back up.
Okay.
So we kept it a little bit on the lower side for that one, and I think that's half the reason why it kind of wakes you up a little bit easier in the morning too.
So now, do you recommend someone? I mean, should they cycle off? Should they do like a 5-2? What do you recommend for people that are using the product, the Power Down, that is?
So far, we haven't really seen anybody. I mean, one of my good friends has been taking it for 3 months straight. We haven't seen anything with there other. It's kind of one of those, as long as it's available to you, then you won't have any problems with it. There's nothing in there that would end up requiring a dependency at some point.
Yep.
The melatonin that we use is only microdosed. It's 300 milligrams as opposed to a lot of the other companies that are using, 5 to 10 milligrams. So we're like 100th of that. So yeah, I mean, realistically, you can safely use that as just about as much as you want. I mean, normally cycle things just so that they, stay effective for you, but that's.
Yep. Do you, in your opinion, and not to downplay your product, do you feel people in general are becoming more dependent on overall sleep aids because of the increase in caffeine?
I think it's definitely becoming a little bit more trendy because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are really dependent on it, because even the people that we have now that have purchased from us, there's one kid that actually just bought a power down from me last week when I was at a gym demo. He talks to me every day and still hasn't taken it. A lot of times it's one of those things where they just keep forgetting that they have it. So I don't. For people to actually add it to their daily routine,
yep,
it's almost more of like a luxury item. So I don't really. It's normally like when you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to sleep, or I know I'm going to be awake tonight.
Yep.
It's 4:00 in the morning. I need to lay down. That's normally when I see people taking more of it. So.
And what do you recommend for the product? Like 30 minutes empty stomach before bed, or what do you recommend?
About a half hour to 45 minutes is when you start feeling it kick in, and you just feel your eyes start just getting real heavy.
Yep.
And that's pretty much where it's at for it. I haven't noticed anything where empty stomach, full stomach made a difference.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of where that's at with it.
Because that's the one time I haven't taken it, because I'm one of those old adages that I don't like to go to sleep with a full stomach, either for nightmares or just digestion. So for me, I generally take it like 3 hours after my last meal. I might have a meal at 6:37 and then go to bed at 10. For me, I cycle at 5:2 on the weekend, just try to get my own REM cycles going on. But again, for people listening, there's nothing addictive in it. I hear so many horror stories about Phenibut, and I don't think it's being used as much anymore. But again, for people that are looking at this or want to go on the website, get very natural, not habit forming, and you do wake up refreshed.
Yeah. Now I got a question for you, because as a user of it, have you had any issues with any interesting dreams or anything like that?
No. So it's funny you ask me that. The only time I have interesting dreams is back in the day. I used to use ZMA, which is zinc, magnesium, and magnesium aspartate, or I forget what the A was. This is going back many years ago. So when I used to take products that were very heavy in zinc, my dreams were very, very colorful. Like I was almost like on LSD or something. Not that I've ever taken LSD, but I would actually dream in color, where other times you dream, and I can't remember if I'm dreaming in color or black and white. So my long-windedness, no, I've not seen anything out of the ordinary. Just go to bed easy and wake up nice.
Good.
Have people said something different, like other users?
So far, the only bad review I've gotten on it so far was there was one of our customers. He gave a sample of it to his roommate. His roommate's one of those kids who just sits in his bedroom with blackout curtains and plays video games all day. Yeah, so clearly this is someone who has a weird sleep schedule to start with, and he actually took it and was wired all night.
Really?
Which blew my mind until we actually started looking into it a little bit more. And because he rarely sees the sun ever, the vitamin D actually acted almost as a stimulant for him. So
interesting.
Yeah. So that would be the only thing I would say, is that if you're someone who's not active and definitely doesn't go outside a lot, that would be the only downside. That probably wouldn't be the best product for you. You might want to stick to something a little bit more single dosage, where it's just like a melatonin or a valerian root or something like that to play around with. But
because I've read stories and studies, and it's probably like single percentage points, if not 0.0 percentage points, where melatonin for some people will actually act as caffeine or stimulant to them. Very, very small amounts.
Yeah, I mean, everything acts different to just about everyone. So.
That's it. And let's talk about quickly your last product, because I want to give everybody a quick view of your overall product line. I know you have a nootropic as well.
Yeah. So this is actually something that we've trademarked that we're pretty proud of. It's called ProTropic is the name of it. And basically what we did is we took a probiotic, a 10 billion CFU probiotic, and mixed it with a nootropic.
Okay.
theory behind it is that with all of the evolving research on the vagus nerve being the connection between the gut and the brain, we wanted to create a product that would be able to, basically supplement and provide health for both of them.
Yep.
Also, it's with it being a non-stimulant based nootropic, again, it almost comes back to like kind of like the pre-workout side of it. With by adding beta alanine, there needs to be something that's kind of sensitive or sensitive where people feel something when they take it.
Sure.
So adding the probiotic in there, where it really kind of cleans out your gut and gets you kind of running smoothly on there. It's been, I'll tell you what, brain fog is just
really
gone
okay.
when you have that. Oh yeah, after a couple of days on that, it's you feel like a machine just running smooth. It's really nice.
So besides the probiotics, what else is in there?
We've got 500 milligrams of alpha GPC, 500 milligrams of CDP choline, ashwagandha at 300.
Okay.
Huperzine, I think it's 10 milligrams, 10 micrograms. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. 100 milligrams or 100 micrograms.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a lot of the more well-researched nootropics on there. Personally, I think that we're probably going to, now granted, even as the science on a lot of the probiotics is evolving, like for example, one of the things that we did on here is on our, again, in a transparent label, we're actually one of the first ones to put out how much of each strain of the probiotic is listed on it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where we crossed over into kind of like your natural, like or just like the CVS, like here's your vitamin D, here's your vitamin B, like they say probiotic, and then it's just like a proprietary blend of like 8 strains.
Okay.
And they're not actually telling you how much of each one you're getting. We actually put in there how much of each one it is, and we just split it right down the middle, 500 billion and 500, or 5 billion and 5 billion. But again, as that science is evolving, like they're starting to find out that, the more strains that you have, the more diverse your microbiome is with everything like that. That's going to be, Protropic is going to end up being almost like a revolving door of like, every year there's going to be a different version of it coming out just as the science evolves with it.
Okay.
There's even a strain that they're looking at now that basically eats away gut fat.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of times people who are eating processed foods, it's not making it all the way to the end of their gut.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of give their gut a little bit of a backup. It's sending fat there, so it has a little bit of a shield or like a protection around it, since it's not actually doing a lot of like the muscular work itself.
Yeah.
Actually found a strain that'll eat away a lot of that.
Really?
A lot of that gut fat. Yeah. So it's a lot of the bloating, and then the belly fat is just kind of dissipates essentially once you start including that.
So, Will, maybe I misunderstood something a minute ago. You said, so does your nootropic product get better the more you use it? I mean, is it almost like assimilating into the body better?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we try to let customers know as they're purchasing it, is that it's not like you just take it and then you instantly feel something.
Sure.
The first day you are going to get a cleanse from the probiotic if you've ever taken it. But after that, it definitely just kind of gets better and better as it goes on. And then the hard part is when you take supplements that do that almost have that feel like a saturation almost, is that after you've taken them for a while, you don't really notice the effects because it's just negatives that are dropping off.
Okay.
So essentially, like at the end of a cycle, a lot of times, not a cycle, but the end of like a bottle on there. But most people will just kind of be like, I don't really know if that was worth it. I don't know if I'm going to buy that one again. And then you go 2 weeks without it and you're just like, oh my gosh, I was living like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cause that's, believe it or not, we've got a couple like very, very, consistent customers that we have, and they've been buying it nonstop since we released it.
So do you recommend cycling off that for a couple of weeks in between bottles, or no?
For the nootropic side of it, you almost might want to, just to kind of take a few weeks off in between. There's huperzine in there, so it just kind of helps out, clear some receptors out on there. But even when you're not taking it, I hope to see probiotics become almost, as standard as like multivitamins in people's routines and supplementation. Even the differences I've seen just from starting to take one has just been incredible.
And it's interesting because Justin from Supplement Stoop is a very good personal friend of mine, so I know he's very, very big into the nootropics. I'm not as educated, so I'm learning more about it. And it'll be interesting, let's say, because nootropics is still a new category to us. Let's just say maybe a year or two. It'll be interesting in a couple, maybe 15, 20 years, if maybe Alzheimer's goes down or just any kind of dementia goes down, and if we can kind of correlate back to, like people like you and I and Justin taking the product. Because Justin and I always laugh, be like, what are you going to live to 120 using all these products, or we're going to die in the next 10 years?
Yeah, we'll find out in 10 years.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So what's next for you guys? I mean, I know you talked about the protein earlier, obviously something on the shelf, and the possible weight gainer pill that you mentioned earlier. But what else do you guys like to dabble in, or what else you guys want to do?
A lot of the things that we're doing right now are just they're not nearly as exciting. They're kind of just on the business end.
Yep.
We're getting a lot into branding. Unfortunately, that's what especially with with Power Rush, it's 6 ingredients that are, moderately dosed. And you look at that on the shelf of a supplement store and no one's going to pick it up. We know that. And that's why we've got to do a lot with our branding.
Okay.
We focus more onto the, kind of the energy drink side of it. So we've kind of got to keep up with almost like, Rockstar, Monster, Red Bull with that. Right now we're doing a lot with looking into sponsorships and like affiliate programs, which are a nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine. Everybody wants, sponsor me, and I'll do whatever. Just give me a code. I'll take care of it.
I honestly started feeling bad for like a lot of like just like women on Instagram, because the amount of DMs that we get of just guys without their shirts on, just saying like, hey, sponsor me. It's just, it never ends. We have a whole folder dedicated to it. It's just wild. And it's all just, it's never the guy that you want to sponsor either.
Yeah. So do you guys have a true program or system as of yet?
Yeah, we've got, we're putting together an affiliate program. We had one before that just absolutely fell apart on us. We lost a crap ton of money in it. And it was just trying to help us get the word out and everything. And we gave out a ton of free product and then just saw no return on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we're trying to go more into the, I think everyone's almost going towards lifestyle on this. We're looking to sponsor like snowboarders, surfers, skateboarders. We're actually talking right now with one of the professional lumberjacks, which is pretty
really
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, the people that do like logging and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, where else do you need energy and focus when you're swinging an axe like at rapid speed?
Well, that's it. Again, you've got a very I'm gonna use the word generic, but I don't mean that negatively. Is that the Power Rush is not targeted to a specific fitness or bodybuilder. It's very open or well-rounded. Maybe that's the right or wrong word.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of how we feel about it as well too. It doesn't really matter what you're doing with it, as long as there's something that you need to dial in on and stay awake for. It's a good product to try out for it.
So to go full circle with the nootropic or nootropic, depending on how you say it, would you recommend people taking a couple of tabs or a couple of capsules with the Power Rush? Would that be too much of a nootropic effect?
Yeah, I would actually suggest against that.
Okay.
Just from my personal experience, I actually got a headache when I tried doing, like, I would actually take 2 tabs and try to throw back a scoop of Power Rush with it, and it didn't work well for me at the gym.
Okay.
I normally take Protropic in the morning when I have breakfast. Taking a probiotic with a full stomach allows for a lot of the microbia that's inside of there to actually get into your gut, as opposed to just getting burned up in your stomach acid. So a lot of times that's a better time to take it. Sometimes you can take it at night though too. That's another thing. But like to take it to say like, oh, I've got something to do. Let me just take a couple of nootropics to get through the day. It's almost not. It's not the way to do it.
Do you and your other 3 partners find it very hard to either formulate or come out with a product with the industry being so damn saturated?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially because where we fall in the industry is kind of into that lull of like, these are just the mid-tier products. Like there's nothing that the hardcore user is going to look at. And a lot of times with that, price becomes one of the most important things.
Sure.
I mean, I can't compete with C4. They're going to be $15 on Amazon every day because they're buying, thousands of units a day, where I'm lucky to send out a couple hundred units a month.
Yeah, yeah.
And, it's just real difficult in that sense. But at the same time, when you're sitting there in the supplement store holding, one container and another one, and you're putting those next to each other, you're going to want to take the one, even if it's, $1 or $2 difference, you're always going to go for the one that's the most bang for the buck, or you're going to go for the one that's, the cheaper route for you. It all just depends on the customer there. But I don't know. So, I mean, when you're looking at Power Rush compared to, one of these other pre-workouts that are, a monster 20+ gram serving on there, it's granted, we don't compete in the performance side of it, but that's also not what the target range for it is anyways.
Yep. And it's tough because I think the uneducated user of supplements, regardless of what their industry is they're more apt, and I've gotten to many conversations, they're most apt to look at a product and look at the price next to it instead of actually holding it side by side, and say, okay, this has got X, this has got Y. Like, I don't remember off the top of my head what your product goes for, okay, but what does it go for on the website, Will?
It's anywhere between $30 and $35, just depends on what sales we got running.
Okay, so I have a good friend that he's more in the true bodybuilder line, and he's got a good pre-workout that goes for like $59.99. And people automatically say overpriced. But what people don't realize is his product has 3 trademarked ingredients.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's paying a premium for that, but people are just going to say, okay, Will's got citrulline in his, my buddy's got citrulline in his, beta-alanine, but not look at the other products. Again, apples and oranges, but I think that's the problem is people go for cost, or the other problem that myself and Justin's the same way is I see more people put a premium in flavor and ingredients and potency and efficacy secondary, which is terrible.
Yeah. Flavoring is almost like Schrodinger's cat. Like, you don't know if it's going to be important or not until you actually try it.
Yep.
I mean, one of the things that I've always looked for from, any type of the sales aspect is that the more you can get someone to smell from start to finish, that's a customer that you're going to easily be able to retain over time. Flavoring in that sense is incredibly important, because if they take it and they just go, oh my gosh, this is terrible, you better have the best workout of your life afterwards. Because if it just tastes like a handful of nickels, then you're in trouble there. Especially with some of these other ones that even they've gotten some poor reviews or anything like that, or some of like the real gray area stims that just haven't really been kicking in for a lot of people. If you're paying a premium price, it tastes terrible, and then you're only getting a mediocre workout, that customer is just gone for you.
Exactly. And again, with yours, it's more, we keep beating a dead horse. It's lower stim. So for you, I think it's almost important to be very well flavored, because some people will drink it slowly as an energy drink versus a 450 milligram caffeine, where it's going to be take it down and go right to the gym.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it all just depends on the customer for it. If you're someone who's looking for, that monster high end, you're not worried about what it tastes like. You're going to, as we've all said, you barely even put water in it. You just throw it back and keep going. But then again, we've got our people where, they enjoy the flavor, and that's something where, you look forward to drinking it almost, every day or whenever you're taking it. And so for us, it ends up being important.
So, Will, one of the questions that came in on my Instagram feed is, do you guys have a plan to come out with a high stim pre-workout? Or do you want to still play that same low stim game?
We've been tossing around the idea because it's actually been coming back to us a lot. Me personally, I have no interest in it. Okay. Only reason being is that, so to give you a little backstory here on a lot of kind of how we look at things is, we're based out of South Jersey, about 10 minutes from Atlantic City. We're in an area where seasonal depression is like 4 out of every 5 people have it.
Sure.
Just because we get 6-7 months of just absolute gorgeous weather, and then as soon as like middle of November hits, it's literally just like overcast, 40 degrees and windy, and you just don't come outside, and then it hits there. But a lot of the things, especially between that and then most people being over caffeinated on there, I see cortisol levels being too high, being a high a pretty big reason for why people are so stressed out half the time now.
Yep.
High stims kind of go against what my morals are on there, but at the same time, like if you're looking for that type of product, not to say that we won't come out with something that still stays within the framework of what we want to achieve as a business, but it kind of just goes against what I'm looking for, or like, you know, what we stand behind. Morally.
Sure. I got it. No, that's fair enough. Another question that came in, it's not who you think it's from, is who's your favorite YouTube reviewer?
Oh man, I've got a lot of people that are gonna get really pissed off at me with how I answer this.
You can take a pass if you want. You can plead the fifth.
No, I got to give a shout out to Matt over at 5 Minute Supplement Reviews. He was the first guy that actually gave us a chance and kind of got us plugged into this whole network.
Yep.
Ever since then, we've gotten on to a lot of other channels. Your channel, we've been on No Fate, we've been on VW Fitness, Supplement Kitchen. I mean, pretty much all of the ones that keep pop up. If you just type in supplement reviews, the ones that all pop up have all taken a chance with us, which is nice. But yeah, no, Matt's definitely a good guy. We've been in contact with him since day one, basically. So yeah, I gotta give him the credit on that one.
Right, that was a test because the question did actually come from him. So he'll be listening. He says, "Sean, let me know when it drops. I'll be listening to this. I'll have to tell him that you picked me and have him listen." Will, a couple of random questions here. What was the first supplement you ever used?
So aside from
your dad's MLM.
Yeah. I actually started with No Explode back in the day when I was going, just kind of in the gym in high school when you were taking like weight class or weight room as one of the, like a gym elective. But that was kind of one of those, it never really did anything for me. I was just kind of taking it because all my friends were taking it. And it was just like, oh yeah, we're going to chug this real quick and then go work out. And half of us threw up afterwards just because we're 15 years old and have no idea what we're doing. But I'll be honest, it was the original Formula Jack that really got me hooked into,
Really?
Oh my gosh, this stuff can do this for you. And it was all downhill from there.
and again, to go back to your morals, you seem very anti-high stim. And to hear you saying Jack.
Oh yeah. That was the turning point. I figured out what those things could do, and now I'm like, oh man, I've made my mistakes, so let's try and teach the younger generation.
Jeez. What's the last best movie you've seen?
Oh man, I just watched something that was so good too.
Couldn't have been that good. I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know. Well, I fall asleep through half of them. I only sleep like 3 hours a night.
In the theater or at home somewhere?
Oh, no, at home. We were talking about that before. I've got a job where, I get up at 1:30 in the morning to start work. Yeah. And it's, if I'm not starting a movie by, while the sun's still up, I'm not finishing it most times. What movie I've seen recently? Oh God, I'm going to have to pass. I can't even remember anything. I watch Space Jam once a week, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You watch what?
I watch Space Jam once a week, man. That movie is golden.
Space Jam, the cartoon with Michael Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Okay, because I've heard rumors. I hope it's only rumors that they're going to reboot that with LeBron James, but I hope it's only a rumor.
Yeah, they said that. Then they had another rumor coming out with Steph Curry, and nothing's happened since then. They was supposed to start filming last February or something like that with one of them, but. And I'm actually even going to give them a shout out on here. Glaxon, their labels, the super greens, where it looks like.
Well, that's what I mix it with. The greens. Your product with the greens is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all of our labels, there's space backgrounds in there. Aside from just anything that has to do with space, I also dabble into like astrophysics when I get bored a little bit too. And when I saw them start coming out with all those labels, my jaw was just on the floor. They nailed it, man.
Have you been able to crack? Have you cracked all of them? Because I haven't been able to crack all the labels. Meaning they've got some kind of movie innuendo.
No, I actually didn't even hear that until recently, so I have to kind of go back and look into it. But I mean, I saw the Space Jam one. I almost bought it on the spot. Just cool.
It's good stuff. You're a greens person. It's very good. I've tried a lot in the past that are very like earthy. They're just, I don't know, they don't taste right, but they've got it on spot between the flavor and just the consistency of it.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to look into that.
So what's the last song you listened to at the gym? Or what type of music do you listen to at the gym, maybe? Maybe not less song.
I've got the worst taste in music. So I'll throw out high school. I was playing drums, and me and actually the other Bill were in a band.
Okay.
We play a lot of death metal. That was kind of where we're at now.
Okay.
Bill's reformed. He's actually in a country band. That's one of the things he does on the side as well too. But yeah, I listen to a lot of like Chelsea Grin, Memphis Mayfire, the other ones like Moth to Flames. It's a lot of just really demented screaming stuff that the more chaos, the better is pretty much what my headphones sound like.
I've never heard them before. I was going to throw something weird like Five Finger Death Punch or something, but.
No,
That's too minor.
You don't need to do it, and you'll be all right. Your day will go just fine without most of it. Just don't worry about it.
So is it kind of throat singing where they're just
Oh yeah, and the whole time, nonstop. That and just dissonance breakdowns and just disgusting noises, and then random like movie quotes thrown in just to lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay. Well, Will, I've really enjoyed the conversation. I guess the floor is yours now as we wind down a little bit. Feel free to plug your social media, anything else going on, any kind of demos. It's all you, my friend.
Yeah. First off, Sean, thanks for the time and the opportunity to get on here. Yeah, you can follow us on social media pretty much anywhere. It's PWR Supplements. We do go by Power Supplements, but never watched Wheel of Fortune. Vowels are expensive, so we just kicked them out.
Nice.
Instagram, however, is where we are the most active. We're always doing stuff. Unfortunately, on Facebook is where you need to follow our events. But like, for example, in 2 weeks, we're going rock climbing. We're getting a lot of our affiliates together and we're going snowboarding, but it's open to anybody else. We've got volleyball tournaments coming up. We've done scavenger hunts. There's always things that we have where we're active in our community where, we try to get people out of the house as much as we possibly can. Also, we're trying now to get involved with Alpha Lion. Just posted about it the other day. They're helping out with the brush fires over in Australia. Hopefully, we're waiting on a response back for that, but we're going to be listed as one of the companies who, if you purchase anything from us in this 3-way window, that we're all going to be promoting. A portion of the proceeds are going to be going towards helping out a few charities over in Australia to kind of help out with the wildfires and everything there.
So that's they don't have to go to any special site. You just go to your site, just purchase the product, and then obviously you take care of the back end.
Yeah, exactly. And even if we end up not being affiliated with it, we're probably still going to do something where we're just because that's one of those things where it's such an atrocity. We just want to try and help out anywhere we can. I mean, we've got options on our website now, even to donate to mental health charities. If you ever look at that, there's an option for shipping where it's called Sending with Love.
Okay.
Normally I throw a bunch of dumb toys I find at the dollar store in a package, and then we also make a donation to charity. But yeah, we'll probably end up swapping that out from one of our charities that we normally donate to sending it over to the ones that Alpha Lion's working with.
It is a tragedy. I actually work for an Australian. I have a facility in Australia. So right now, same thing. We're doing a lot of behind the scenes. It is a tragedy, and hopefully they're able to rectify it and there's not too much more damage. But I don't want to go down that route. Going full circle in the positive to your website. Who updates your website? When do you guys do it, or is it an outside company?
Yeah, no, we do all that.
Because I have to admit, because I don't know if anybody's been on the website, but you guys had the Christmas snow or something falling on your website, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we tweak that fairly periodically with whatever holidays coming up. I can tell you for Valentine's Day, you're probably going to see some hearts falling from there too, and it's just some dumb stuff like that. Even if you just follow us on Instagram, we share more memes than we do pictures in the gym. We like to smile, laugh, and have a good time. So anything that we can do to kind of just make somebody go like, oh, well, that's kind of cool, and that's normally what we aim for.
Yeah, that's what you need. But Will, again, it's really been a pleasure. Again, I appreciate all your patience. Love the products. I know myself and Matt, and hopefully anybody listening to this will be watching your trajectory. And we wish you guys all the best.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much. And again, we appreciate the time.